Holy shit, everybody. I'm exhausted, but we're here anyways. Welcome back to another episode of World 1-1 Podcast. Before we get into the main course, a touch of housekeeping, if you will. First and foremost, I apologize. The content posting schedule has kind of gotten derailed because there is considerable amount of upheaval happening here at Studio SR38 or 388.
Boom!
Yeah.
You know when I come down, I love you so much. We have got to find a sign for the room. We have to go.
Michael
we have
can
to go.
make it.
I was say I can make one very easily.
Yes, we need that, and it needs to be like a Metroid floating around. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yeah,
Let's do
let
it.
me give me a vague idea of what you want off here, and as I said, I can figure it out and make it happen.
Let me think on it.
Oh, I love you so much, Larry.
Oh. I think it'd be kind of boss to actually get like a fucking full-blown neon sign for that. Anyways, but in any case, so yeah, the whole content schedule is unfortunately kind of gone out the window. We're currently recording before I've actually finished editing and posting the last episode from 2 weeks recording ago. So that's entirely on me and all the shit going on in my world right now because as much as, you know, I can't do this without everybody here and I love them all, I will make no secret of the fact that I'm sure nobody else here will either. The editing and production side is very much a one-man show. So,
yeah, it's a one-man pony show there.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, no one told me there was ponies.
So, I mean, if it gives you any idea, I got a friend of mine that like a year ago I was talking about this shit, and he's like, "I'm stunned you're still fucking doing that." I'm like, yeah, it takes a lot, but you know, I do it because I love doing it, and I love spending the time with my friends and my peoples. So, so that's what's happening there. I'm kind of maybe on the cusp of things resettling. Some new hardware has arrived. I've got to get some things in line and get it all hooked up and wired up, but it means that there's some new opportunities available for some of our World 1-1 plays stuff as well. That'll open some doors there that I'm really excited about and some other things, but that's all, like I said, housekeeping shit before we go any further. So, you know, for anybody that's like, what the fuck's going on? Where's my app? That's why. That's also why I haven't had a whole lot even getting posted on our Twitter, our Facebook, or anything like that, because frankly, life is just kind of taking the piss. So, which reminds me, by the way, more than anything, if you want to keep up with anything that we got going on or any like interesting news or tidbits, follow our fucking Twitter. That's at World1_1 podcast on Twitter. I tend to be a little more active there than I do on our Facebook page, at least for the moment, until I can kind of maybe find some support, some backup, and, you know, not that anybody hasn't tried. It's just, you know, trying to get some time carved out. So it's a lot, but you know, we do it. All that said, besides following us on Twitter and on Facebook, you know, you can and should find us at our home at world11.podbean.com, all spelled out, all one word. You can also, you know, pick up the audio versions of our show over on Apple Podcasts and Google Play Music and iHeartRadio and Spotify, and I think maybe Podknife, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. It's been a long time. Things I can't keep up on anymore. It's too much for my brain. You know, archived live streams, you know, like the Let's Plays and everything else that we do, as well as the video versions of the show, can also be picked up on our YouTube channel. You know, so if you just search World 1-1 Podcast on YouTube, you'll find us, and you should subscribe. And, you know, if you're really feeling froggy, you can even ring the notification bell so that when shit goes up there, you'll see it. So, because that's a thing. And then, of course, the last and the one that I honestly get really excited about is, and I know I sound excited, don't I? I'm just fucking exhausted. Is our Twitch channel. That's World 11 Podcast, all spelled out, all one word, over on Twitch, where we're still on the unfortunately slow march to 200 followers, so we can give away that fucking collector's edition copy of Blasphemous for Switch from Limited Run Games. I swear to God, I do not need it taking up space in my house forever and ever. So get us there so that I can get it the fuck out of here as soon as it gets here from Limited Run Games. So all that said, I am, as always, your judge and jury, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me this evening, my longest standing partner in crime, Eddie V.
I will be turning 40 by the time you guys hear this episode.
That's how long it's going to take Larry to edit it.
You're only 16 right now.
Yeah. No,
Probably.
No. I couldn't
Hello,
resist.
everybody.
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
And representing the defendant this week is Josh the Legru.
Hello.
And for the prosecution, Michael I Hate You Brown. And special guest this week, flying in all the way from overseas where he was born and, conceptualized. We have our very own Phoenix Wright here to object to all of our bullshit.
Objection!
I'm just kidding. We can't afford the rights to that shit. None of us get paid for this fuckery.
Hey, if I'd have known this was happening, I'd have fucking made something. Like a sock puppet or something.
That would have been Exhibit A.
Uh-huh. Sock
There's
puppet
a-
covered in blood.
There's a skit. There's a skit. With the
That's
boot.
Michael's special sock. We call it the Dream Catcher.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, hang on a
Wow.
second. Actually, I got an idea. I'll be right back.
Well, he's doing whatever the fuck he's doing. Let's jump to, oh my God, video games. Eddie, you've been missing the longest. What on God's green earth have you been playing?
So I finished Neck 2. I finished Neck on PS4 and I took it off my PS4 when I got finished with it. I would never return to that game ever again.
What game?
Neck.
Oh, no.
Uh,
Here's
I-
a puppet real quick. I can actually make him talk through the whole thing. Can you guys actually see that?
yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh.
So I got Shadow the Tomb Raider for PS4. I got a steel case version that was only $20 at Target.
Nice.
So I actually got the full collection on Xbox One. Now I got the full collection on PS4. I also play Yakuza Kiwami on PS4. Yeah, I bought 2 because it was like $19.99. I've beaten the first Yakuza back on PlayStation 1. So I beat the
Right.
original version. But I'm looking forward to Yakuza Kiwami 2 because I never got a chance to play Yakuza 2. I actually love this remake
Yep.
in the game. Like I love the style, how it looks and stuff. It's still good old Yakuza, wonky controls, but you can just beat folks up. Wonky controls in that you end up just button mashing and don't really know what you're doing at times because the camera will switch and you can't really do anything sometimes when that happens. But it's still a great game. I'm definitely enjoying that. For Switch, playing 3000 Duel. It's a Metroid Souls game. Where it's stylized in the Metroid kind of design, but it has a Dark Souls mentality to it. Where if you die, you lose all your currency that you collected. You got to get back to where you at and collect them. But this one is 2D, so you get a dash mechanic and everything, and it's really really good, really addictive. Really fun to play. Played a little bit more Chasm. I've been getting further in that, unlocking different things and rescuing more people. I'm kind of like in this grass area, like this garden area. So I probably got some more things to do in there. Got Animal Crossing, playing that. I'm trying to get the rest of my iron so I could get the store and stuff for Tom Nook and everything. I paid off my camp, but I got my house, but I just got to start paying more on the house and doing some other things on there. I have
How many
Pokemon-
animals have you crossed off yet?
None.
Disappointed in you.
Well,
Like, I really want a version.
I like
of
how
the-
he just goes, oh, well.
Oh well.
The, I really want like an alternate cover art for that game where it's a mock-up of like Days of Future Past, and it's all the fucking animals and they're just fucking crossed off, deceased, captured.
you can probably find it on Twitter. That's how much they be posting Animal Crossing on that mug.
Somebody needs to make that shit.
Yeah.
A,
So
a warning from PETA at the beginning of it.
Right.
Right. Played a little bit of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, but I put it on hold so I can do Animal Crossing. I'm going to be jumping back into Breath of the Wild a little bit with that, and I think I'm gonna restart Iconoclast on my Switch because I beat it on PS4, but I now know what to do. I might try to 100% it on Switch.
What are you going back to Breath of the Wild for, out of curiosity?
I've never beaten it.
Didn't you really?
No, I didn't.
Did
I've never
you-
beat it.
Did you at least get into the castle?
No.
You've
I
missed
got
the
to-
best music of the game.
I because I was playing on Wii U. So when I got my Switch, I had to restart the whole game over. And by the time I was going to do that, I started playing other stuff.
That's actually
So
the entire
I just-
reason I haven't bought it on Switch. Because, like, every time I think about going back and doing all of that again, it's just like, oh.
Okay, so
But is it really all of that again now that you actually know what the fuck
know
you're
what
doing?
to do? Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
and
Well, because I'd 100%ed the game on my Wii U.
mhm.
So, actually, no, let me take that back. I didn't finish the very last trial.
Okay.
Oh,
Did
the
you get?
champion.
Did you?
I got
you
like
get all-
two. Yeah, I got like two away, and fucking Adriana distracted me, and I ended up falling into the water, and the Lizalfos electrocuted me to death.
Oh,
So I was like, at that point, I was like,
no.
it's 10 points. I don't care. So,
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get all your Korok seeds?
fuck you.
My friend,
That's
he
no
did it.
100%. Shut
That's what
up.
I was just gonna say. Like, if you didn't
Yeah.
do that,
I don't count that because fuck all that rut.
My friend.
there's
got
only
all-
900 of them. Come on.
Shut your whore
Korok
mouth,
fucking
Shannon.
got after it.
Yeah, he got everything. So Larry, I to treat myself for my birthday, I have a 55-inch 4K, no 55-inch Samsung Smart 4K HDR UHD TV,
Yeah.
and I got it for like $350 and some change
Nice.
at Target. I just set it
350,
up. So I haven't got it. I just hooked it up, but I haven't got a chance like to run anything because I want to run. I want to see how Gears 5 look on it. I want to see how Forza Horizon 4 look on it. I really want to see how my Switch games are going to look on it with Breath of the Wild and everything. I really don't care what it does for it. I just want to see Breath of the Wild on
Yeah.
this big screen.
Oh,
Just be
okay.
like-
Right.
and
Yeah.
just marvel at it and everything. But that's what I'm doing for Switch. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. I'm just gonna like commit and jump back into. I'm at the Prince one in the water. So I gotta go
Yeah.
fight that unicorn looking thing again. I hate him so much. But I had to go fight him and get the stuff and then go and fight that elephant so I could get in and do that battle. For Xbox One, I finished. I didn't finish. I'm playing Control. On it. I don't think it should have been nominated for Game of the Year because it has a lot of technical flaws.
Josh apparently feels
I
some
would
kind of
say-
way
I
about
would-
that,
I
as
would say-
Adele might say.
I would say this: it's art-wise phenomenal art. It looks
Yeah.
beautiful, and I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see it in 4K. Phenomenal art. Love the lighting. Love the colors. I think the checkpoints are a little bit. I think they should have been a little bit more forgiving for the checkpoints, due to the fact that with the loading that it takes, depending on what system that you play,
Right.
If you die at a crucial part, you have to go all the way back and like backtrack from the last point that you saved the game at, and then make your way all the way to that point, doing a whole bunch of fighting all over again. So it's kind of just like, it's fun doing the side stuff and finding the optional bosses. I'm right, because right now I'm trying to fight this plant boss, which is a side boss, and I get him 2/3 down of energy, but I'm trying to get to his, I'm trying to kill him at this point, but the game, which has like literally throw up some fog stuff that affects you, and because of the camera angle, sometimes the camera will get wonky and you may get hit by that flower, and if it kills you, you got to do all of that all over. And it takes about a good 2 to 3 minutes just to get the other side enemies done, to get there. And it's just like, a lot of people don't want to keep doing this over and over, so they should have been forgiving. The problem with, after you pause the game, it freezes. It crashed on me once. I had audio issues dropping, and I'm literally, it dropped so bad that it cut the whole sound off from my whole Xbox. I couldn't hear nothing, and I have and I literally have wireless headphones for my Xbox. I got some Turtle Beach ones, so I'm like, I can't hear nothing. I literally had to turn my system off and cut it back on, so I will be able to hear again for my whole system. So I think this is the thing with Remedy, because I don't feel like Alan Wake was a great game. I feel like it was good at the beginning, but it lost its way at the end, and they just dragged something on. Pretty much, it was a Naughty Dog game where they should have got to the point, but they're just dragging it on just to make it long, and stuff that could have ended earlier. I feel like Remedy should have made a game with Nintendo, and I think if they would have made Eternal Darkness 2 together, I think Remedy games would have been better. I think Microsoft came in and helped them with Quantum Break, because I feel like that's more polished in Control, and it feels like it feels like it's been, quality assurance, like it's been tested and stuff with different players to fix stuff. And I think Nintendo would have been like, we'll let you guys make Eternal Darkness because you guys know how to tell a story. Don't matter with graphics. You guys know how to do all of this stuff, but we need to come in and we need to tighten some things, clean it up, and make it feel like the people who are playing your game, who, in case of their die, they don't have to redo stuff. They don't have to wait for long load times and stuff. They're able just to hop back in and enjoy the experience. And I think if Remedy had ever worked with Nintendo, I think they would have been as big as Platinum Games, where I feel like Bayonetta 2 is their high point that they got noticed from, and more opportunities came to Platinum for them to make games. They did 3 games with Activision. They made Nier Automata for Square Enix. They even helped Nintendo with Star Fox Zero, and whatever you want to say about that, you can. I feel like Platinum, after Bayonetta 2 came out, the recognition and the talk of Game of the Year and stuff helped them make them really important and noticed in video games, in the video game community and stuff, where, like, even though Ninja Theory and Nintendo didn't really work together, Ninja Theory started getting recognized because of Hellblade. Even though they'll be like, how can I now learning about Ninja Theory? Then you should have played DMC. You should have played Heavenly Sword. You should have played.
I was gonna say, Ninja Theory had the name recognition solidly before Hellblade.
But they weren't getting the name recognition that Hellblade gave them to people. You know, people were angry at Ninja Theory because they did DMC Devil May Cry. People avoided or don't really talk about Enslaved. Heavenly Sword, people make fun of, but like, look at the production that Ninja Theory is known for in their stories, in their combat. They're up there. You know, like a top tier second party independent company. They really put they all into games, and they know how to make great action games that's going to feel different from Platinum and Tecmo Koei, you know. So I just feel like I really wish they would have worked with Nintendo before they made Control, because I think that experience would have helped them make Control a little bit better. But it was their budget. You know, 505 Games just did the publishing for the game to get it out. Going on from there, I did play Tales of Vesperia on Xbox because I downloaded that. I have Final Fantasy 13. I ended up buying that during the Square Enix sale. I was like 10, I think like $7 or $8. It was like really cheap. So I got that on one. I'm trying to finish Control because I started Ori and the Will of the Wisp. This game, I can't wait to play it on this 4K. It's gorgeous.
It is. It'd just be nice if it ran smoother.
I haven't had no issues yet, but it's probably because I'm in the beginning of the game.
I had some issues real fast.
I
mean, go watch the Let's Plays that we do have up on the YouTube channel so far of it. You'll see them pretty quick.
Okay, I know they gave me an update when I put the disc in, because I wasn't trying to play Ori until I finished Control, but after the crash, I took Control out and put Ori in. So again,
I did that same thing, but not when I didn't have any problems with Control, but I did that. I just as like a palate cleanser.
Yeah, this soundtrack, man, I actually put on my Twitter page. I'm like, if Ori ends up doing the musical concert, please come to Chicago so I can buy a ticket. The music in this game is breathtaking. I'm like, ooh, this is so good, so good. And I think I'm about to get into like the first dungeon, but I wanted to get to like the side dungeon, like one that called the Marsh, I think, that I'm trying to get into, but I'll probably come to that later. But I really love Ori too. I actually put on Twitter my the game skills you need to play Ori 2: ActRaiser, Mega Man X, Super Mario Brothers 2, and what else? I put another game. I was gonna try to throw in for funny. I was gonna throw in Cooking Mama, but I was just like, nah, that's a little bit too much. I'm like, I'll have to figure out how to do that. But yeah, Ori 2 is really, really good. Last but not least, Outworld, in the sense of Outworld. And I was thinking of more art-wise and with character-wise that you meet feels like a little bit of Outworld. But you kind of want to say, I want to do Outworld Strangers, but I need to play more of that game because I didn't get a chance to finish it on Xbox. So
I can't wait till Stranger's Wrath comes out on Switch physical before anybody says anything.
So it's not all. So the game is out only digitally, but not for physical yet. Okay. Did they give a date for it yet, or not yet?
I don't remember. I thought I saw it available for order somewhere. I need to see if it's on Best Buy's site yet.
Okay. And last but not least, I played a little bit of Doom Eternal. It's cool. I'll come back to it when I get a chance. But Doom Eternal is fun. I know some people say it's frustrating later on in the game, but I'll jump into it when I can. With that, but that's pretty much all I've been playing, catching up and things like that.
Okay. And Michael, what have you been playing?
I just finished up the first Darksiders again. I played through it on Switch. just because I wanted to find out if the audio sync issues were there. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to say they are not. Like
Yay!
I managed to get through the entire game without any audio sync issues, with the exception of one execution. I think that's just because I happened to be on I was on steps, so it kind of glitched a little bit there. So that turned out great. It was fun going through it. Plus, a while back, I found out there's actually a missable cutscene in the game. That this is the first time I ever actually saw it out, on my own gameplay.
Mhm.
And then after that, I've been playing that 3000th Duel. I'm enjoying it, but there's something about it that's not really clicking. It's a good game. It reminds me a lot of if Symphony of the Night and Dust were kind of mashed together. And I think it may just be like a little bit of the animation just doesn't quite do it for me. But overall, it's a very good game. I'm really enjoying it. I've been stuck at this one boss for 2 fucking nights.
Which one?
The Ice Mage.
Oh, I haven't got to him yet. I was stuck on the big skeleton one.
I know
But
you're
then
talking about. Yeah.
But I ended up finding out what his pattern is, and then I ended up beating him. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I actually liked that skeleton fight. That was pretty cool.
yeah.
But I think that's about it, actually. Yeah.
Okay. And Josh,
All
how
right.
have you been playing? Put
Okay,
in
so
your disc tray.
yeah, I've had quite a bit of time. So I've been playing. I played and finished Jedi Fallen Order finally.
Yay!
That game is good. I like it.
How was the ending?
A lot better than I thought it was going to be. And there was some. It kind of it does hit a lot of the nostalgia triggers of Star Wars, which is good. The ending really wraps up nicely, kind of its own little story, but it also leaves kind of an ending open that you can see where they're going to go with the sequel. Hopefully, that they kind of go that direction. So I hope they do, because I enjoyed that game. The combat finally triggered for me about 3/4 of the way through the game, to where I'm like, oh, this is how you play. And that's how long it took me to play. Because for me, my whole life I've been playing games and I play one way. This forced me to play a different way. And I just was like, okay, well, I guess I better learn this other way. Otherwise it's going to be a miserable time. And it took me that long to kind of trigger into me to play,
I had the similar issue with Darksiders 3, since it plays kind of like a Souls game.
Yeah.
I kept trying to play it like a Devil May Cry game.
Sure.
And I'd get the shit stomped out of me.
Yeah.
And after a while, I finally realized, okay, I'm doing this wrong.
Right. I had to learn how to parry, and just learn the patterns of bosses, even more so than you normally do. So I enjoyed it. I liked the game. I got through it. One of the bosses they said was the hardest boss in the game. It didn't seem it was that difficult to me. But honestly, I'm not playing on a very high level of difficulty. But for me, I was stunned. I was like, okay, I can play this. So I learned how to do it.
Do you feel like the trailer didn't lie, but it feels like a different game than what the trailer showed at E3?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you look at it, you would be like, I thought this was going for Uncharted, but it's not.
Well, there's a lot of platforming aspects, but what they don't show you is they don't show you the combat. They don't show you the, they're really relying. If you like Star Wars, you're going to like this game. If you're basically, I think a lot of people thought it was like an Uncharted version of, Star Wars version of Uncharted, which it's not. It's not.
At the E3 trailer, that's what everybody was getting, that vibe.
Yeah.
When it was watching it.
I agree. I like it though. I hopefully they, do a sequel, which they're going to do. They're going to do it. I played.
Are you sure? Because that means EA would have to admit that people want good single player games.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, I'll tell you what, if because Respawn's doing it, they're the only ones making any good games out of that studio right now, so they better do something.
They're gonna shut them down now.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then I put in Control. I've been playing that. I have 180-degree different experience than Eddie's having with it. I love it. I don't, but I'm a big fan of Remedy games anyway. I love Alan Wake. I love Quantum Break. I love the way that Sam Lake writes. I just like his writing style. I don't know why. It's
And
kind
I
of a
love your big
throwback.
dumb combat boots, and I love the way that you don't even love me. And
And you know what? I don't have no problem with Sam Lake's writing. I bet you I prefer his writing over Sam Hughes from Rockstar.
Oh yeah,
I would take Sam Lake writing for any time. It's just some of the execution decisions that they really make.
yeah, and
I'd be
I
like,
appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's not everybody's game, you know. I do agree with some of the things. Like I don't have the technical difficulties that like Eddie has been having with it,
Mhm.
and I don't know if that's because I'm playing on the One X. The only difficulty I do get is when I pause it and then I unpause, it does skip a few frames. It just stops for a couple seconds. I've had no audio issues. But with Jedi Fallen Order now that was a game I had massive technical issues with. Reloading after you die would take me sometimes 2 minutes. And in a Souls game, like when I'm not used to playing it, that's part of the reason it took me so damn long, because I was dying and then reload. I may, try the same boss 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and it was like an hour. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm freaking done with this for a while. So, I mean, I was getting frustrated with it on that level. But Control, no, I'm loving that game. I'm about halfway. I'm through the 5th mission. There's like 10 main story missions, and then there's some side missions and stuff like that, which I was just starting to dabble in now. And I'm liking it. I put in Ori just as like a palate cleanser from everything, and I'm not having any issues with that frame rate that way on that game either. But I also do feel that it's because maybe I'm on a 1X that I'm not seeing it. But I've only got about 2 hours into it.
And I want to let everybody know that I'm playing Control on the Slim. So,
On the what?
Okay.
on the Slim, on the
Xbox
on the
One Slim.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now-
Somebody please finish fucking Ori so I can talk at you about it.
I'm working on it.
as soon as possible.
It's so good. I just want to talk to somebody about it.
Josh, I gotta ask something. Actually,
Sure.
I want to ask you all something here on the back of something that Josh mentioned. This thought popped into my head just momentarily. You mentioned, I can understand it's not everyone's cup of it's not everyone's game. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm curious because I started thinking for a second. Is there any game that is everyone's cup of tea? And the only thing I can think about is, does anybody here know any other like gamer that hates or doesn't like Tetris?
I'm not a huge fan.
There are some people who are into Call of Duty games. They don't like puzzle games. They would never touch Tetris at all.
That's the closest I can think of to like a universal game.
Solitaire might be one. I think a universal game that everybody pretty much can agree on for some reason, it may be Mario Kart in some form and fashion. But I don't know if we're going with the series of Mario Kart or one particular game.
I think if you were going to go with any Mario Kart, it might have to be 64.
I would have said Double Dash.
I think 64 was more ubiquitous. I think people like that more.
Or Mario Kart GP at the arcade, because a lot of people will go play that. So that may, if we're adding arcade games, that one might be a universal one, or Dance Dance Revolution.
I would say if we're talking Mario Kart, it'd have to be a toss up between 64 and 8. So
8 in Deluxe or just
anything in the 8 family, 8 or 8 Deluxe, take your pick. Really, doesn't particularly matter. But
what's the difference?
One's on the Switch.
Yeah, 8 Deluxe had all the DLC built in, and they may have actually tweaked and added 1 or 2 other minor things along the way that never made it to 8 original on the Wii U. Not much, but some things, some stuff. But yeah.
And then one last game I'm playing, I just started actually, is this Voyage of the Dead for my Xbox One, which is a light gun game, modern light gun game. It's a zombie game.
Never heard of it. Never seen it.
I
Yeah,
haven't either.
It's for PS4 as well, so
How
but
did
it's
I miss?
It's $100, so
Jesus,
you know
gross.
you know what it was though. I got it on sale for $100, and it gave me an extra light gun because you could play up to four people.
I would say for
yeah.
$100, that light gun looks kind of crappy.
It's nice. It's actually
you'd have thought they'd make it look a little more slick.
now. Do you remember the old school light guns? How light they were.
Uh-huh.
This thing is not like that. It's heavy. It's actually pretty nice, pretty decent quality.
You can pistol
but
whip somebody with it.
Probably not. You know, it's plastic, so I mean, you could, and then it's going to break.
Oh.
That's really all I'm playing. Just been doubling down on Control and Jedi Fallen Order to get that shit done, because I thought I was almost done with Jedi Fallen Order, and then when I started playing it again, it was like another 7 hours or something like that to beat it. So I was like, oh, I'm only like halfway through. Okay.
Well, question for you: Are you guys on lockdown?
Yeah, now
or
we
stay
are.
at home? You are.
Well, I'm an essential service, but because my wife and I were ill, we got to stay home for 2 weeks, and then my doctor just told me today I got another 2 weeks at home. So I've got time, so I'll be playing more.
Okay.
I cannot put into words how fucking jealous I am.
You know what? I thought it was going to be awesome, but honestly, like last week, I was sick. I was hard to play games even. So now this week, I think it's gonna. I was getting sick and tired of sitting in one place, so I was kind of like reorganizing my game room and trying to go through some of this stuff. And then I got tired, and I just sat down, and all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night. So I go to bed.
Well, Michael, you're not on stay-at-home order, right? Your business is still up here.
No, yeah, I'm essential. My because we build heating units for ambulances, like that's the loophole we're using basically.
Gotcha.
We don't need to be essential. We don't need to be. But the thing is, I have a mortgage, so if the doors are open, I'm fucking there. You know.
Right.
I don't want to be like. I'm an introvert. Like I'm a homebody. Like I've been practicing for this for fucking years. And then when it finally comes up, they're like, "No, not you.
Yeah, you're essential."
We have purchased you legally. Get to work.
Wow.
So yeah, like right now they've got us working. We're only doing 4 days. But they're requiring us to use our vacation time for that 5th day for the Fridays all month. Which it's shitty, but whatever.
And at least you get the day off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not losing any money out of it.
Right.
Are we all on lockdown to the 30th of this month?
I don't know. I don't care.
At least it doesn't really matter. Like Larry and I are both, get to work monkeys.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. If I go to work,
yeah,
they gave me a letter, an essential employee letter, and
I've got one of those too.
I got one too.
So there you go.
Why your eyebrows go up, Larry?
I'm not talking about this in an open forum. Nope.
Oh, okay.
That'll just get me in trouble.
All right. So what are you playing, Larry?
So aside from I'm playing, I am exhausted and life, I just keep playing that one scene from Dragon Ball Z where Frieza keeps getting hit by Goku and screaming, "Kidney shot! Kidney shot!"
Wow.
That.
Yeah.
The only thing I've actually really played was No. You know what? I'm saving that for last. I'm going to talk about some stuff that I got that I'm really excited to get into, which is, we all know how that always works out. Some days better than others, to be fair. But I did pick up a small hoard of stuff, some of it off my wish list that had been on there for a while, some of it a little more recent. Probably the oldest one that was on my wish list that I finally picked up is We the Revolution.
Okay.
It's like from what I could tell, and the reason it caught my attention was it's described as a a political intrigue game set in the midst of the French Revolution.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so you have to, it's a whole lot of who can you trust and who do you not trust, and it looks like you have to make the decision at certain points to execute those that you think are gonna like fucking betray you and go behind your back and shit. But the thing, yeah, no, it gets more interesting because at the end of every day, you have to sit around the dinner table and essentially sit in judgment of your family at the meal table as you break bread for your actions and the people that you've fucking executed.
Wow.
Yeah. It got kind of a really neat kind of monochromatic-esque art style mixed with a little bit of like crumpled paper art.
Okay.
Like very flat, low polygonal look to it, but it looked interesting, and I finally pulled the trigger on it.
Hotel Duskish or lesser than that?
Think more Killer 7.
Ah, got you. Okay, I see.
Okay. So, but more crumple papery than Killer 7. I also pulled the trigger and picked up Squiggly Line Water Game. I suspect that if my guess is correct, that'll probably be the next one that I really put some time into.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess. Now, something could go sideways, and one of these other ones could divert me first. But I'm curious, and I think it definitely probably falls into a trend in the indie gaming scene that we're going to talk a little bit more about in the third half of the show this week. At Michael's behest, I picked up Broforce, which I don't know. I'm gonna play it. It's probably gonna be retarded and silly, and I'm okay with that.
Sometimes you need retarded and silly.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing at all. Believe me, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Also picked up Ape Out. At a glance, I was honestly a little hesitant on Ape Out. It took me rewatching the trailer another time or two to decide to pull the trigger on it, because, and I'm still slightly hesitant because it reminds me a little bit of Mr. Shifty, and I had some issues with Mr. Shifty, but I think some of my issues with Mr. Shifty are just that I went into it expecting kind of being promised one thing and got something else.
I've never heard of Mr. Shifty.
Really?
Yeah. I think I've heard Larry say it before, but
it was an early Switch indie game.
Yeah. A lot of people was excited about it when they seen the trailer. Then when it came out, it was just like, it's okay.
Done.
Also picked up The Tourist. I've really kind of been looking forward to The Tourist.
I was thinking of picking that up, but I didn't.
Yeah. So I pulled the trigger on that. I took a real big gamble. I suspect The Tourist is probably going to be the closest thing to Animal Crossing-esque that I will ever have any fucking interest in. But I also took a real big gamble in potentially going outside of my usual comfort zone gaming-wise, and I picked up To the Moon. Because I still can't figure out what the fuck the gameplay is on it yet. Looking at it, I don't fucking know. I'm guessing it's an RPG, probably, but I can't fucking tell from anything that I've looked at on it, promo material wise.
Oh, it looks interesting though.
No, the story got my attention. Though.
Yeah,
I really have an interest in the story.
A lot of people said that's what makes that game is the story. But
it's a 10 out of 10 on Steam. Wow.
God
Okay.
damn. Okay. So,
It's an
um,
you know how they describe it: interactive storytelling adventure game RPG.
so
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
it's an RPG in there. Um, so and then the other one that I actually played, start to accidentally finish, was I played Inside My Radio.
Oh yeah, you posted
I've
some
never
on
heard
that.
of this.
That looks cool.
It was a lot of fun. I have absolutely no idea what the fuck the story was. I didn't read any of the fucking dialogue. I didn't care. I couldn't be fucking bothered.
You just
I
wanted
was-
the gameplay, huh?
Yeah, I was too busy fucking having fun with it.
Okay.
It wasn't super challenging. It's kind of like a little bit of a mesh of Shapes and Beats and Crypt of the Necrodancer and just platformer. Yeah, so it's a platformer, but you can the only thing you you know what else it has a little touch of is fucking Bit Trip. I feel like it's got a little touch of Bit Trip, maybe.
Okay.
Mm.
So, but the only thing that you can freely do is move left and right. Anything other than that, your dash, your jump, and your smash moves can only be done on the beats. So again, it kind of takes that element from Crypt of the Necrodancer, Cadence of Hyrule. The art style is going to feel very, very Shapes and Beats-ish. And again, you're probably going to feel some of that influence in the choice of music as well. No, it was a lot of fun. I was playing it. I was really impressed by, the variety in the music, because it had a couple of main characters that you could play as, in different sections of the game, and depending on the character that you were playing as, the entire style genre of music was totally different. And I was, my only complaint was I was really getting into it and going, oh, this is fucking awesome. This just needs to keep going and open it up. And it felt like it was just about ready to.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was over.
Oh, I see.
What?
Yeah. Like, I got to this big boss fight thing, but I felt like I hadn't been playing that long. I'm like, okay, so there's this boss fight thing, and this major thing happens, and it's going to, like, break into a new chunk of story and keep going for a while. But that boss fight was just the end boss fight of the fucking game.
Wow.
Now, granted, it's a boss fight in, like, 3 parts, because each of your 3 characters fights the boss by themselves in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really excited when after you beat that boss fight with the first 2 characters, each one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm playing as one character, and I beat the boss with that character, or I beat that fight or that part of the boss with that character.
Mhm.
The fucking boss eats the character. Gone. Fuck you.
Done.
Yeah. And then, the second one goes at it and tries to, tries to save his little buddy and goes after the boss. He beats the boss and then scripted event and he gets fucking eaten. Blah, 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 blah. So,
It's like a 4-year-old designed the game that way, right?
yeah,
Wow.
kinda.
Like it's something like a little kid would say to do. Oh, eat him.
Eat the guy. Eat the guy. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was fun and it was $2.50, so I'm not fucking mad.
Right.
I just was not expecting that to be the end.
Right.
It was fucking weird. And I'm sure it's got some fun writing if I actually bothered to read it, but I fucking didn't. So, whatever. Sue me. I'm allowed that luxury once in a while.
Did anyone play Bravely Default 2 demo or Trials of Mana demo?
No, I can't be fucked.
Ah.
You should have already known that, motherfucker.
I thought you would try it out at least.
The fucking RPG. How
What
long
game?
have you known me?
What game are you
Bravely
talking about?
Default 2.
Bravely Default 2 and Trials of Mana, the demos. Trying them out. I thought you would try them out. I'm not saying that you get it the game. I'm just saying that you try them out. Larry.
Now, isn't Trials of Mana just a 3D remake of the second game that's on the collection?
The third game.
Third game. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Because Secret of second Densetsu 3.
Oh,
never
that's
came out to
right. Yeah,
America.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the entire reason I bought that collection, which I still haven't fucking opened because, you know.
same
Care
here.
about Collection of Mana? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it too. It was only like $10 at Best Buy when I got it.
yeah.
I had to order mine from Best Buy because it was sold out. Like, oh dang, that bit.
Because I bought it fucking day it came out for, what was it, like $40 or whatever.
And you
Because-
still haven't played it.
There's a handful of shit I ain't played yet. I'm a good little consumer whore, though. Have to own all the shit.
Pretty
Yep.
much.
Yep.
The cat
Also,
girl.
side note, by the way, speaking of owning all the shit, official unveiling is Friday, but there is solid speculation that the next one out the gate from Super Rare is going to be either the Tourist or possibly Sexy Brutal.
I know.
The
'cause they're
Sexy
teasing
Brutal
it.
would surprise me because that's already one that they've said they're doing this year.
Yeah, and they're teasing their release for Friday, so I'm thinking it might be that one.
I'm thinking so too.
Oh,
I'm really
for the
hoping so,
physical
considering
version.
I just bought the Tourist.
Oh, I hear you. Okay.
I'm really hoping it's Sexy Brutal.
I
Like,
miss Sexy-
I'm not horrifically opposed to double dipping, but I hate having it happen that close.
It may have been like a business deal that they were
Maybe.
just
I don't know.
that they was in.
My thought is it's going to be Sexy Brutal, but we'll see. Who knows? Could be anything. Fuck it. But yeah, so that's we're going to wrap up Oh My God video games there, and we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the third half of the show as we roll into a deep dive this week. So with all that said, break, and we're back with the third half of the show along with Michael's forehead. This week we're
I'm playing a video game. Fuck you.
this week we're gonna go ahead and take a deep dive into overarching trends and themes across the industry. Just kind of looking at themes that kind of happened almost by accident, but really became noticeable, especially across the indie side of the industry. So we were talking earlier before we got into the show, and we were looking at a couple of indie games. In particular, I was asking, had anybody here played Abzu yet? And I asked him, like, does anybody know what the fuck Abzu is? And the only answer well, good. Maybe you can better answer my question later. But fucking smartass over there, Josh, goes, it's a water game. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, that seems to be a running theme here in indie games over the last couple of years. Like, probably more identifiable as a theme than most others that I could really pick out and point to, just in terms of setting or thematic. But I started thinking about it. I'm like, there's some other themes and trends that have really risen to prominence and almost saturation as well. Like 1, water games. 2, and we've talked about it on several occasions, Metroidvanias. Along those lines too, you also have the whole roguelike genre, which also to a degree kind of taps into that Souls-like esque thing. Those two tend to go very hand in hand in the indie gaming space as well. and I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think might be the next kind of groundswell trend to rise up into prominence, as well as how long do you think some of these are going to continue before they hit their breaking point and start to recede?
Well, for one thing I noticed, it's not
Or are
actually
there any others that you've noticed that I haven't?
it's not such a theme, but definitely music, because we kind of went from kind of with some indie games. We had this 8-bit beat bloop and like kind of 16-bit style sound chip, well not sound chip, sound
Chiptune.
and chip tune for its music. If you play a lot of indie games now, everything sounds orchestrated. Everything sounds live. The music is now able to help bring the story that they want to tell. Like a lot of adventure games where you might just solve a puzzle or you walk around and stuff, all the music that they use and have this live orchestrated feel to it. Whether it's like big or it's minimalist, it's always just like they're using a live piano. They're using drums and horns and stuff, and it's just like it gives you a really like studio quality like live recording CD in a sense. So it's moving away from that 8-bit chiptune sound in a sense. Like if you look at Gree, for example, and you just listen to a lot of that piano that's in there, it's like the piano like goes up and down, and like it really brings out what that game is about with the colors every time you get to a new area and you add on and stuff. And it's just like that music helps tells and moves that game along. Same with Rhyme. You know, it has its ups and downs, and when we like spoiler alert in case anyone hasn't played Rhyme, when you get closer to the end, there's a point where it's rainy, and the way that everything is just a piano arrangement, you hear it, and you just like this is the end of the game and end of the journey, and this live piano is really helping you see what how this game is going to conclude. So I've been noticing a lot of more live instrumentation for a lot of indie games, and even I want to say art styles. There's been more different art styles, even though some people are still using that 8-bit and 16-bit games. Most of that been the 8-bit and 16-bit has been like the cheaper kind of games, and these more animated and more visual games, they're a little bit more expensive, but they're breathtaking, and you get a certain different experience than playing an 8-bit or 16-bit game. So I think that's one of the trends that we are definitely seeing in the future. And I think when we see Series X and PlayStation 5, we'll be looking at indie games in a different manner, because I think there's going to be a different visual than the first and third party or second party games that well-known developers and publishers that we know. You could tell the difference what's going to be an indie and what's going to be like a AAA kind of product.
Okay. Josh, what do you think? How long are some of these trends gonna keep going before the market decides it's had its fill?
Well, I mean, like Metroidvanias and things like that, people keep buying them. As long as people are buying them, you know, they're gonna. But the problem is, I think you're getting a diminishing return, especially with a lot of this stuff, especially Metroidvania. And I hate to say it, but I think like Kunai is kind of an example of when it's starting to kind of fall out a little bit. The game is good. It's not great, but it's taking other games are doing what it does better. And that's going to be a problem. I think people are going to start seeing games like this more and more. and it's going to be a problem because you're not going to trust, first of all, the game that comes out unless you got a bunch of people that played it and reviewed it. And to be fair, like Kunai, for example, reviewed about a 7, and that's what I think it is.
Right.
I mean, it's a good game. It's not great by any means. It doesn't have a lot of bugs. It's fine. It's a fine game. It's okay. It's not terrible by any means. There are some terrible Metroidvanias out there.
Agreed.
Yeah. And
what would you class as some of the worst of the bunch?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to get off the top of my head right now. I don't know, Larry. It's
Sunder.
Mostly the ones that kind of
Which one?
combine something.
Sunder.
Oh, see,
Ooh.
I haven't played that one. I always think
was-
it's ones that combine things,
Okay.
Sunder looked like it should have been good, but it gets really old really fast.
It was that paranormal one, Larry, that me and you brought that you didn't like that 8-bit one. I'm trying to look it up.
The paranormal one.
Paradox.
Oh yeah, the
Paradox
Paradox
Soul.
Twin or Paradox. Yeah. That was fucking garbage. God, that was awful. You said paranormal. I'm like, the fuck yeah. Paradox Soul was awful.
Yeah.
I played maybe an hour of it and I just couldn't be fucked.
I don't know. Have you guys played Wreck-It Ralph? The actual
no.
game?
Is it game?
Yeah.
No.
I put that. I got that on PC. I put it for a couple of minutes, and it was like an hour, and I was done with it. So it's kind of like a Metroidvania kind of game. But anyway, yeah, it's not really, but it kind of is. It's terrible. Don't even bother.
Okay.
That's
But-
sad.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some ones that I've played that I just can't, for some reason, I just can't pull on the top of my head right now. But I'll remember them, I'm sure, like tonight when I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep. But there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, and there's ones that are okay. And I think that we're going to start seeing it same with this, like the underwater thing.
Could we
There's probably
consider?
some really good games that are underwater, But I don't know if I'm going to want to play every one to find those good ones.
Could we
Mhm.
consider Friday the 13th for the NES a Metroidvania game?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I don't have an answer for that.
But I mean, it's a
Is
terrible
there
game.
something else I can help with?
Nope, that's my phone. Sorry.
Stop it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I mean, other than that, I mean, like underwater game, for example, like I'm not gonna play every single underwater game to find a good one.
Yeah.
Like the Shinsekai, I really want to play that, but I'm just like, I just don't know if I want to get burned, or even Abzu. I'm like, I want to play it, but I just don't know.
Right.
I mean, what do you? Go
Abzu
ahead.
is more of a experimental, relaxing kind of game. Like you're looking for different different things that would lead you closer to different reality. So it's more of a adventure game that you're swimming.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's an adventure game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem that a lot of people might have with it is with it doesn't really give you direction. You really just jump in and swim and just look around and deal with the camera, and just get stuff in. It pushes you forward, and then I guess once you get to the end, that's the end of the game. Like I haven't finished it, I was just giving it a try, and I was just like, okay, I understand what this is, but you know, it
Is
needs
there an
to have
actual
something.
end to it?
There's an end to it. I believe
Okay.
so. Yeah, there's an end to it. I think with water games, you get more of the Minecraft kind of water games, roguelike kind of games. Like, I think Subnautica is one of them.
Into the depths or whatever.
Yeah,
Into that game.
yeah. So I mean, when it comes, there's not too many water games in indies that I know of. I know there's.
You've got Song of the Deep, Abzu, Squiggly Line Water Game, the
The seafood one.
We Are Seafood.
No seafood.
But now that I'm thinking about it,
Wave Runner. That's
well,
good.
no. The fuck was the name of that on the Wii? Was it Deep
In this
Blue
ocean.
or Into the Ocean?
Endless Ocean.
And that's it. Endless Ocean.
Yeah.
Like
But
that.
and
Yeah.
and people enjoyed that because it was just
Oh,
a
I did.
relaxing game.
Oh, I
it was-
loved Endless Ocean.
Well,
Yeah.
Did they say this, the music was good too in that game, or it was just like a really chill game? Like it was just really good.
Yeah.
It was. Like that was legit a lot of fun. It was just, swim, 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 look at cool, pretty things, and
Well, it was endless,
yeah. It was, but it was
just about
it
the relaxation.
right.
Right.
And I feel like, somebody somewhere has started to figure out that as a setting that there's a lot you can do with it that really just hadn't been touched on. And because one, you can go two very different routes. You can go with that very chill, relaxing, to which I would also throw Flow into the mix, or the Sparkle games that I showed you, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Flow is a good example.
Right. As well as maybe even the Koi game that I was talking about the other day. Or, you can go the very tense route of, bottom of the ocean and the whole thing's pressing in on you. I'm not sure that I would entirely qualify BioShock 1 and 2 in that, because it's kind of kept at a distance behind a barrier.
Yeah.
But those games where it's like, no, you're fucking in it. That's a different kind of intense pressure.
Can I say another trend that I know you probably got more to say, Larry. I think another trend that's kind of happening, and it's not indie, is definitely seeing a lot of PC ports getting put on Switch. And when that happens, cross saves are happening with that. I feel like in the future we're going to continue to see that. That we're going to continue to see more PC games be put on Switch with cross save, because I think Tropico 6 got announced for Switch, and I think that's going to have like cross save progression and stuff like that. So we got Civilization 6, we got Divinity, and like some of those games, and it's just like these PC ports that are coming to Switch. Like there are reports that they do good when that happens. And you would think those PC games would come first to Xbox and PlayStation. No, it's on Switch first.
I'm hearing from some developers too. I have a couple friends that are developing some stuff, and Switch is becoming really hard to make money on. The race to the bottom is happening on Switch, kind of like what happened with mobile space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of it is because there's so much on Switch. It's hard to get noticed. So, these developers, and we've talked about it before, even, we've had a couple on that have done this, where they heavily discount their game down to like, $1 or less just to get you to play it.
Right.
And they're hoping to make up some on the back end, by people playing it, make it
Word
up
of
later.
mouth, yeah.
Yeah, word of mouth, get on their Patreon, stuff like that. So, like that happened with a robot named Fight for me. I bought it for like, I think it was $1.87 or something like that.
Yep.
I paid $1 for it.
Yeah, and I felt bad. So I love the game. So I just signed up for his Patreon. So I start giving a couple bucks a month or whatever to him.
Right.
So I think that's part of the problem too, is that there's so much coming up.
And I think yes, it is a lot. I think with Switch though, I think it's because it reaches to so many different players that a lot of stuff do get missed because they're getting the system for these certain things and these certain games, and not everything. People are happy with indie game or some kind of game get physical, and it comes to Switch. People will be like, okay, we're gonna get this. And if it gets physical, I'm gonna wait and get the physical. Look at Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a big one. People did not people who wanted it early, they went ahead and get it digitally. But people pre-ordered this mug for physical and was going into stores to get it physically. And it just took off from there. Same thing with Hollow Knight. When Cuphead came to Switch, even though those are big names, the
Yeah, I'm
less
still
indies,
waiting on a physical for Cuphead. Damn it.
the less indies, they're trying to get recognition for their games and everything. And I think that's why I think some indies feel like if we could get into a Nintendo Direct or an Indie Direct, we have made it, because now it feels like our game is getting noticed. When we can't really market our game to get noticed, that's because that becomes the hardest thing to make sales for our game, because there's no visibility about us and our products.
I could see that. So
You know, look, I would say this. I feel like you'll probably make some money off of Switch. You'll make it more on Switch than you will on Xbox and PlayStation, because they don't really deliver on indies. You know, if an indie ended up on Game Pass, that's gonna really hurt the sales for that game.
I don't know if it does or not, depending on how much money they get is a lump
Get back,
sum of money.
yes, that is true.
That's, I don't know. There's a lot of weird factors in there, and I think some of it honestly is just dumb luck.
Yeah, I think so too.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That sucks to say, but yeah, you know, how many great ones just went quietly into the night just because they didn't get that stroke of luck, that notice that they needed to really pick up and go. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, I'm sure there's great games that, I mean, I think we see that all the time. There's so many games coming out, even in the AAA and the third-party space, that people, I mean, you can't play all the games anymore. It's just not possible.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, when we were kids, you know, you could play pretty much all the games
Yeah.
because
Or at
there
least
was
all
only
the games you wanted to play.
right. There was like maybe that one Nintendo game that came out a year that everyone had and everyone played. But it's just not like that anymore. I mean, there's just like every kind of game, whatever you like to play, there's a game coming out for it.
Right.
There's at least 3 or 4,
Yeah.
and most of them are going to be kind of okay, but there'll probably be one that is
Like
totally worth your time.
a diamond in the rough. Yeah. And that's what, I mean, everyone I think is coming. I don't know if it's coming to a fever pitch where people are just going to really kick back on it, like push back on it or not. I don't know. As long as people keep buying them, they're going to keep making them.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, can you really fault them for that?
No. I mean, it's not anyone's fault. It's just the way the market is.
Mm-hmm. So, but no, I'm curious though, you know, do you think though that we're maybe just at the apex of some of these, like Metroidvania, and you know, I think we're pre-apex of roguelike, but I feel like it's coming soon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
You know?
Metroidvania is here. I think Hollow Knight, you know, Ori, those are like top of the tier Metroidvanias.
Right.
And I think we're starting to see now a little fatigue. I think also the name Metroidvania for some reason fatigues people. I wish we could describe the game better than using 2 other games to describe it.
I don't think it's even that inherently that's caused the fatigue. I think more the fact that we've just seen it everywhere.
That's what I mean.
That every
Everywhere.
game has tried to attach themselves to it, even when it's
They shoehorn it into everything.
right.
And it's becoming like, and if you see a description of it, they're like, this Metroidvania is a Metroidvania. It's like a Metroidvania. It's like, come on. You know, I get it.
It's because it's becoming a trope to a lot
Yeah,
of people.
it is.
Where
It is.
Where it's
Yeah.
just like we know the pattern of it, and because Metroid's a big name and Castlevania's a big name, you're going to do the same thing, whether it's a shooting version or it's a melee version. You're doing the same thing of backtracking, getting these powers just to explore something else, and then you get to the end, and then that's it. Like you're not adding anything to move this
That's what I
genre
mean.
forward.
They're not moving it forward any. That's where I really feel like that's where like a roguelike kind of came out, because a lot of people were, we were thinking it was more like a Metroidvania, then all of a sudden you
Mhm.
get like a roguelike game, kind of like Dead Cells. You start getting some stuff like that,
Right.
and that breaks a pattern of what you want. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to find another type of genre or experience that's going to break the pattern, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or reinvent it, like a platformer, reinventing a platformer. I mean,
Well, it's
No?
it's literally funny that they haven't treated Metroidvanias like a Mega Man game, where the power that you like, if you go into a battle and you use your first power, like what they start you off with, if you defeat it, you receive not only like a ability, but you receive something that's going to upgrade your gun. And it depending if you find a secret boss or a mini boss, like you just search and you defeat that, instead of you just getting like a heart container or something, maybe you get like a ice beam or something that wasn't meant for you to get now, but yet you were able to get it because you fought and you defeated that boss or that mini boss, and now you have that, and you may be able to go to a boss that or another mini boss who really shouldn't be, who is weak against freeze, while still be able to explore. Like I don't even know why indie games haven't even ripped off Mega Man. Like why haven't you guys tried to do a Mega Man style
There's
game?
actually a couple. Like I've
I
been
would
playing.
say there's a
I've been
few,
playing
not
this game
many.
called 2000XX. It's literally a Metro. It's not Metroidvania. It's a Mega Man X style roguelike. And it's actually really well done.
You get to like select your stages and everything.
Sorta. The first stage is pretty much random, like randomized. Okay, you
Yeah.
have two characters, one that plays like X, one that plays kind of like Zero. And after you beat a stage, you are given a choice between: do you want a power up, do you want a new weapon, or do you want more life? And then you're given a choice of between 3 different stages. You can choose from there. As I said, I think I paid like $10 for it, worth every
Mhm.
penny. And then there's another Mega Man style game I picked up called it's like Robo Gal or something like that. It's basically Mega Man if Mega Man was a girl.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't actually played that one yet, but like it looked interesting. It was worth a couple bucks I threw at it.
Surprisingly, a lot of indie games are getting. And this may be another big thing coming. FMV is coming back. You know, we have Her Story. We had their follow-up game. I was telling Larry about the Complex, and then there's some other ones that's on it.
Was that
where
the same group?
no, someone else did the Complex.
I was gonna say, wait a second now.
I
played that.
Oh,
I played
Which
that
one?
FMV game. That new one on Xbox. Why the hell can't I remember it now?
like
Oh, Night Shift?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game was great.
yeah, and like a lot of FMV games that's coming from these indies, they really been good. You know, they really been hitting the spot, and it was just like I remember this was getting laughed at, and it wasn't a big thing back in the day. But now we got HD, and the production is better. It
Right.
feels like this. I'm like, we need to see more of more of this. If this continues to be done well.
Well, there's also been some kind of ironic resurgence of some of the FMV stuff
Mhm.
with like LRG putting out fucking Night Trap.
Night Trap.
So say, I thought I saw Night Trap recently on there.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So
The old school ones.
it's one of those ironic things.
Yeah, I watch it on YouTube, and I'm just like, I'm not buying this game.
Right. But,
That game, can you remember that game when that came out and it was rated adult?
I never
Yeah.
saw it.
And it was like this big, huge thing.
Joe Lib-
that
Joe
I remember my
Lieberman.
yep, my dad. Oh gosh, I can tell you stories about
You'll
Joe
never see this
Lieberman and
game
my
on
dad.
the. You'll never see
Ugh.
this game on a Nintendo console. Night Trap announced for Nintendo Switch.
right.
Yeah, that was.
You know, never say never. But-
I still want people, if you guys are watching or listening to this and you don't understand what we're talking about, go on YouTube and watch the Senate trial or the Senate discussion about Night Trap and Joe Lieberman and see how the ESRB came about. You would be like, wait,
Yeah.
what? You would literally be amazed.
Well, it's the same thing as the like them stickering CDs way back when. People freaked out about the most minor bullshit, and now, you know, like it's just,
wasn't it NWA that got
well,
everybody?
it was NWA. There was Twisted Sister was involved in it. Like actually, because I'm a big Twisted Sister fan, the lead singer of Twisted Sister actually went in front of the house
Yes.
and had a very impassioned speech, and of the whole thing, and they were pissed because he knew what he was talking about. His shit was smart, and like it didn't matter, but
Right.
Kind of, it really is funny. Sorry, the conversation feel like it's
you're
changing. How things in the 90s that scare politicians is like very minor now. Like you can't use video games as a scapegoat because you're going to be called out.
Oh, that's a
Oh
fucking
no,
deal all the
no,
time, dude.
They use
no.
them.
I mean,
They
they're
try.
still going to they're going to use them, but they get called out about that. It's just
Right.
like you can't use this as a scapegoat anymore because when this happens from an adult, you don't say nothing about this. And I remember they just made it so big, like Mortal Kombat was such a big thing, and it was just like it doesn't compare to the stuff that's going on now in real life. Kids weren't doing fatalities and stuff. They were trying to better their skill and show off at the arcade.
That's a whole different time.
Right.
yeah. Like I'm old enough my first concert was actually Marilyn Manson in Detroit way back when, and this was back when Marilyn Manson had protesters outside of his shows.
Sure.
Like, so I remember like.
Hey, I remember when Madonna had protesters outside of her shows.
Yep.
That's how. Now it's like she's tame. you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Well, Manson, you don't even hear about Manson anymore.
No.
Plus his last several albums have been hot garbage. So
Yeah. It's the
He's-
quest for more money.
yeah.
So I think, so I think when it comes to trends and things in indie games, it's kind of hard to depict on which one is going to be because like board games are a good thing, there are some Metroidvanias, but like there's been some more artistic style games. There's been some more puzzle style games like Murders by Numbers, how that art and Picross come together, but it has a very lighthearted, funny story with some Ace Attorney detective, like cross Jenny some games for indies. I think that's going to be a thing we're going to continue to see in it, and it's going to probably be like this is the weirdest game that cross gen these two style of games, but yet it worked, and I'm happy to see it. Like Untitled Goose Game is like I want to say like not a roguelike, but it's a adventure game, but yet it's a puzzle game also.
I would say more than anything, I would say Untitled Goose Game is definitely falls into the puzzle category.
Well, isn't that like I don't know, what would it be like Goat Simulator?
Oh, Goat Simulator's not even a puzzle. That's just a physics sandbox.
But it's got puzzles in it.
I don't know. Not
Well,
really.
it's got things you got to do to like in a certain order and things like that. That's kind of like, I guess that game is just in its own little world.
Yeah, like I said, it's a physics sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I mean,
That's
it's
the only thing I could really classify it as.
and like we got racing games that take the F-Zero kind of style approach to it. I think
Yeah,
we
but
need
none
to
of
see
them have
more.
managed to get it right. Damn it!
We Are Seafood maybe looks like maybe.
One of what's the one game that gets close to it?
Fast RMX.
Yes, that's close to it, but it's not. It's not there.
It's still closer to Wipeout.
Okay. I would love to see indie developer tackle a game like Gears of War. Like, where's the third person over the shoulder games at from indies? I would
Yeah,
love to
but
see more of that.
The shooters are pretty much covered by all the AAA industries.
Mhm.
Like, not industries, that's the wrong word. But the AAA
Publishers,
companies
yeah.
publishers. So like, because that's probably why you don't see a whole lot of them. Because how do they compete with something that has a ridiculous amount of money they can sink into it? You know.
Well, not only that, but a lot of them tend to require a bigger budget to pull off, and you're gonna get so much of that already from the AAAs because it's the safe bet.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean the gameplay style, yes. I think indies could hit like a Spec Ops: The Line style kind of familiarity and recognition of it. You don't have to. Well, yes, you could go big as Gears of War, but if you got something that feels like Spec Ops: The Line, that people are going to be like, they really went something with this story in this environment, and the gameplay, it may have been janky, but yet it was fun. You know, if indies could get at least to that level, I think we could probably see something, because there's not an indie Gears of War game. You know, yeah,
No,
we
but
have
I
to,
will throw you a solid indie shooter, because it's not it is first person, but I
Mhm.
will throw you a solid indie shooter that I think really definitely broke out into major success would be Super Hot.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. Definitely with VR added on, dude. Yes.
Yep.
So,
And that, and because Super Hot makes you think, and it's a trial and error game, but when it clicks and it works, heck yeah.
Super Hot feels like the first person shooter equivalent of Braid.
Hey, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. For some reason, my Skype went black,
Ah.
so I didn't know if I
Well-
got cut out or not. So.
Well, now we know it's never going back.
God damn it.
So I mean, that's my thoughts on trends and things and indies and stuff.
There's also the issue with the back to the like indie developers doing the shooter type games. You know, a lot of those basically almost require the multiplayer, which requires a whole server setup and things like that. And an indie developer can't do as big of a server setup, if any at all.
Yeah, that's a major monumental investment.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there have been a couple of indie shooters that have started to dabble in that. We had the big head, big body one on Switch, whatever the fuck that was called. Where like the more you shoot somebody's head or their body parts,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you know what
That
I'm fucking
arena
talking
one,
about. Yeah, that thing. And then there's also the new one that just got announced a couple weeks ago that involves some time manipulation as well. That's coming to Switch. It was in the Indie World Showcase. So, but it's one where you play around and you send your whole team goes out, but then
The arena one, like Quantum.
Yeah.
Quantum something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another one too I'm real curious about. That's piqued my interest, to say the least. So, and some of that has similar manipulation elements to it that Braid did as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I will say I think we've maybe run this one into the ground this week, guys. So let's kill it here. Any final thoughts we want to toss in before we pull the plug?
No.
Wow, I couldn't have planned that better if I tried. Thank you.
I think we're all ready to be done.
I agree. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap this sumbitch up. Thank you to everybody that joined us this week. Thank you to my partners in crime. Eddie for actually turning up for a change. Michael for, hating us enough to grace us with his presence. Josh for, not being dead so that he could come record with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Hey, Josh, I think from now on you need to show up in your work uniform. Just so I
Yeah,
can
no.
make uniform jokes.
No.
secretly, Michael just wants you to wear the uniform because he's a slut for authority.
Yeah, right. Like
You
some
love
man
to
in
do
uniform.
Uh-huh.
Good, Doug.
Michael would really like you to deliver him a package.
Priority, huh?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Express, first class.
Wow.
He would like
However-
to handle it with care.
Wow. I think we could.
I-
I think it's time for us to wrap.
Aren't you glad you went there?
Anyways,
Oh, God. All right. That's enough of our bullshit for 1 week. We'll catch you all later. Say
Yes, sir.
goodnight, everybody.
good night.
Bye,
Hello.
everybody. And we'll see you next time on World 11 Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Peace.